Craig is a guy who just wants to retire and escape responsibilities, but by accident, he ends up becoming the leader of a clan of super powerful hunters. Even though he's ordinary and has no idea what he's doing, everyone thinks he's a genius. Now, he tries to survive dangerous missions while pretending to be the amazing leader everyone believes him to be. Craig is the revered leader of the world's most powerful clan, the Grieving Soul, and his wisdom and strength have made him a living legend. However, behind this glorious facade hides a man who, at his core, is weak and consumed by a desperate desire to escape his responsibilities. All Craig wants is to abandon this role that drains him, but unfortunately, his fate seems sealed. Today, we see Craig standing in line at a treasure hunter gathering, and it's clear he doesn't want to be there. His weary expression leaves no doubt. The last thing he wants is to participate in this charade. But he's trapped, with no other choice. Treasure hunters are the stars of this world, revered as heroes for risking their lives in vaults filled with riches, facing ghosts and unspeakable threats, all without even the comfort of health insurance. It's a dangerous and thankless occupation. But the promise of fame and fortune entices dozens of hopefuls every year. They flock to join clans like the renowned First Steps, known in the capital as one of the best ever. This clan is a coalition of groups helping each other, bound by survival. And that's why so many people are here today. Unless you're a prodigy like Jin Woo, it's impossible to advance much as a solo hunter. Craig, as usual, tries to blend into the shadows, hoping everything will end quickly. However, his attempt to disappear among the others is interrupted when a soft voice behind him calls out. A young woman asks if he's also there to join a group. Craig, his patience worn thin, resorts to the old tactic of ignoring the speaker, hoping she'll get tired and leave. But before he knows it, she's already standing in front of him, a gentle smile on her face.
My name is Ruda,
she says, extending her hand in greeting. Craig, with a disinterested nod, murmurs his name, refusing to shake her offered hand. Ruda's smile falters briefly, but she recovers and starts talking nonstop. Ruda, a level 3 hunter, shares that she had been hunting alone until she encountered a vault called the White Wolf's Denver. Unable to face it alone, she's now looking to join a group. At that moment, the man ahead of them turns around and, in a condescending tone, tells Ruda she's crazy for attempting such a dangerous vault while still only a level 3 novice. He laughs, calling her an inexperienced amateur. Ruda, suddenly furious, bites her lip, her eyes blazing with anger. And at that moment, Craig deeply regrets not staying home. The metallic flash of Ruda's knives gleams for an instant, and she's about to strike the man. The air between them becomes thick, the tension unbearable. But before the situation gets out of hand, a guard approaches, reprimanding Ruda. He reminds her that they're not in the dark alleys of London, and if she continues, she'll be banned from the clan meeting. With a heavy sigh, Ruda puts her weapons away and apologizes, visibly frustrated. Craig, once again, tries to fade into the crowd, wishing to disappear. When they finally make it into the meeting, Craig can't seem to shake off Ruda. She, dazzled by the strength and prestige of the other hunters, looks like a child in front of a whole new world. Have you been here before? She asks, a bit anxious. Craig, with little emotion, responds that this is the 5th time he's attended this meeting. Ruda looks at him with a mixture of pity and disapproval. You must be a terrible hunter if you have to keep coming back here, she thinks, but doesn't dare say out loud. Among hunters, talent is everything. Even the most anonymous can, with determination and skill, rise to the top. As they observe the room, Ruda notices a group on the other side, their opulent outfits standing out from the rest. Who are they? She asks. Craig explains that they are the Ark Brave group, the most powerful one recruiting today. They're a legend, having conquered a level 7 vault with only 6 members. Being recruited by Ark Roden, their leader, is practically a guarantee of success in a hunter's career. Ruda, fascinated, continues to take in everything around her until she notices an empty table in the corner. She barely has time to ask about it before the man from earlier, the one who insulted her, reappears, offering to explain. Reluctantly, Ruta listens as he tells the story of the table, belonging to the group that founded the clan, the Griers, also known as the Grieving Souls. What no one knows, however, is that the legendary Grieving Souls are Craig's childhood friends. Rumors indicated they would be recruiting today, but the absence of the team suggests the rumors were false. At that moment, a young man who came to sign up for the Grieving Souls group realizes they haven't arrived yet. Arrogantly, he becomes furious, claiming he will become the strongest hunter in the world, and no other group is worth his time. Craig watches with a slight smile, finding the scene somewhat comical, while Ruta feels intimidated. The boy, after all, is a higher level than she is. The situation would escalate into a confrontation, but then a girl named Tino intervenes, determined to silence the boy with violence. For her, it's unacceptable that someone inferior dares to dream of joining the Grieving Souls. The tension in the room rises. Tino is ready to strike, and for a moment, it seems the fight will be avoided. However, Craig's provocation lights the fuse, and suddenly everyone in the room is encouraging the confrontation. Tino and the boy prepare to fight, the air boiling with imminent chaos. Craig, sensing things are about to get out of control, asks Ruta to follow him outside. But before they can leave, Tino senses a familiar presence. Her face changes instantly, and she rushes toward Craig. "Master," she exclaims, nervously asking if he saw her slip up. Craig, surprised, steps back as Ark Roden, the legendary leader of Ark Brave, approaches to greet him. Finally, the truth is revealed. Craig, the reluctant one, the weakling trying to escape attention, is the master of the Grieving Souls clan, and no one could have imagined. The impact of this revelation shocks everyone around. Now, all eyes are on him, and the weight of responsibility suffocates him once again. Craig, fighting back panic, wants only one thing: to leave, far away from it all. When Craig and his friends arrived in the capital, they were clearing out all the beginner vaults in record time. However, there was a problem. Craig had no idea what he was doing. On one of these occasions, he was saved from being devoured by a monster, but his teammates thought he had purposely let his guard down to act as bait. With no other choice, Craig went along with the story, but in reality, he was about to be eaten. They all shared the same dream, to become exceptional hunters. But unlike the other five, Craig was painfully ordinary. He knew that sooner or later, he would become a burden to the group, and he didn't want his friends to despise him for his weakness. So, he made a difficult decision: he would leave the group on his own. However, when he tried to resign, things took an unexpected turn, and he ended up being named team leader. That's how he assumed his current position as leader of his incredibly talented childhood friends. But deep down, he just wished he could retire from the life of a hunter. Ruta and Greg still couldn't believe they had been talking to the clan master the whole time. As Craig sat in his chair, Ark approached and asked if he had arrived late on purpose to observe the crowd as if he were one of the commoners. Craig denied it, explaining that he had simply overslept. But Ark, as usual, wasn't listening, firmly convinced that Craig had arrived late on purpose. No matter how much Craig tried to explain, people always interpreted him in a way that made him seem better than he actually was. Kay, on the other hand, didn't like the closeness between Ark and Craig at all and wanted to kick him out of the clan. But Craig wasn't willing to do that. Tino, a level 4 hunter, was an apprentice of one of Craig's childhood friends, Liz, and thus spent a lot of time around him. Ark asked Craig if he had any good candidates in mind for recruitment, but honestly, there was no need for new members in the clan at the moment. However, since Ark rarely recruited new members, Craig seized the opportunity and asked if Ark would seriously consider any recommendation he made. Ark responded that he would accept anyone chosen by Craig, which surprised everyone. The vice captain tried to dissuade him from such a hasty decision, but Ark interrupted, stating that anyone chosen by Craig would be worthy of joining his group. Tino started to blush, thinking Ark was considering recommending her, but she didn't like him much and was torn between accepting or not. Suddenly, the boy from earlier, whose name was Gilbert, stepped forward from the crowd, ready to beg if necessary to be accepted by Craig. Craig tried to think if Gilbert would be a good choice, but quickly gave up since he was terrible at judging people's character. Not knowing if someone would be strong in the future, Craig decided to let fate decide. He told Gilbert that he was willing to recommend him, but there was one condition. As a hunter, the most important thing is to ensure you always win. If he lacked strength, he would endanger the lives of his companions. So, Craig wanted him to demonstrate his ability to always win. Craig then removed one of his magic rings and announced to all the hunters present that the first person to present the ring to Ark would be accepted into his group. With that, he threw the ring into the crowd, awaiting the chaos. Gilbert was the first to grab the ring, but that didn't last long, as Tino leaped on him, hitting him so hard he was sent to the other side of the room. Gilbert probably needed a doctor, but no one was focused on him as the ring rolled across the floor. Initially, everyone hesitated, but soon they began to fight for it. At this point, Craig decided to leave. And even though the bar was being destroyed, he walked out, muttering that it wasn't his problem, and went home. However, the next morning, it became his problem. The fight in the bar made front-page headlines, and apparently, the entire place was destroyed because of the brawl, though fortunately, there were no civilian casualties. In the end, Eva informed him that the Explorers Association wanted a private meeting with him, and Craig already knew what that meant. They were going to scold him. He asked how Ark reacted to the news, and Eva told him that Ark took it well and even laughed about the situation. With Ark not being angry, Craig wanted to take advantage of his good mood to send him the bill for the bar's reconstruction, as well as ask him to handle the association's meeting. But Eva informed him that the meeting was specifically for him, so there was no way to avoid it this time. Even if he tried to ignore it, the association's manager, Gar, would come after him, as he always did. So, Craig gave in and agreed to attend the meeting, but he planned to use his secret weapon, begging and apologizing. He argued that the only damage was to the bar, and since no one was hurt and the bar owner had been compensated, there shouldn't be any more issues. Gar didn't even have a chance to yell at Craig, as upon seeing him apologize, he decided to let the matter go for now. However, even without official complaints against him, Craig still needed to take responsibility for his actions. That's when Gar assigned him a mission, without giving him the right to refuse. The association receives all kinds of missions for hunters, but with the large volume, some are so difficult or pay so little that no one wants to take them. These missions are known as chores, and Craig really didn't want to deal with one of those. He tried to pretend he was too important to be assigned such a mundane task, but Gar didn't let him escape this time, forcing him to choose. Craig opened the mission book and began searching for the easiest one. Among all those available, the lowest level was 3, so he chose that one. He planned to pass the job to Ark, but when he went to look for him, he was informed by Tino that Ark was in a meeting with some nobles and would be away for a while. With few options left to get rid of the job, Craig noticed that Tino was wearing his ring, meaning she had won the game the day before. Setting that aside, he asked if she was free at the moment. Tino, excited, thought he was going to ask her out, but to her disappointment, Craig said he had a mission for her. She immediately ran off, but even though she was fast, Craig had his methods. He summoned his chain hound, Silver, and ordered it to capture Tino. It didn't take long before she was tied to a chair as Craig explained the mission. Tino felt betrayed, as she had just wanted to go on a date with Craig, but now he was forcing her to take on a terrible mission alone. Craig asked if the problem was that she didn't want to do the mission alone, and Tino responded that she wouldn't mind if Craig went with her. However, that would mean Craig would have to do real work, so he opted to send Tino with a group of hunters he had met the day before. And that's how the first episode ends. It's a new anime of the season, so leave a like, subscribe, and activate the bell for the next part. Until next time.